you know it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around the Ring, episode 274. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley, and joined, as always, my co-host, Steve Long. Steve, how's it going?
It's good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Getting
Good stuff.
close to Christmas. Got any big plans?
Well, I am off work Thursday and Friday, so I won't be going back. So I'll basically have a 4-day weekend for Christmas. But as far as plans, I don't really have any.
Yeah.
Just do our Christmas thing and dinner and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no plans. What about you?
The usual running around seeing all the families. I've got my side of the family, grandparents, parents, and then my wife's side of the family. They'll pretty much all be at the same place. So we'll get all of them at one time. But
yeah,
my side's a little more scattered, so we always wind up having to run 2 or 3 days around town. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to Christmas season being over. But
yeah, definitely.
It's always a little bit of a stressful time of year, but.
Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about the events that occurred during the week of Winter is Coming for AEW. And then our top 5 list this week is top 5 tag teams of 2021.
Yeah.
Before that, I thought, you know what? We didn't talk about other stuff. Well, we got a few pieces of news to talk about, but before we jump into that, what's been going on with Punk Lotto?
Busy time of year. It is the album of the year portion where we're starting to put together our lists. We've been recording with some past guests, getting their takes on their records of the year. It's a lot of scheduling people. So my wrestling was limited this week because there was a lot of just music
a lot of
time.
stuff going on. What was your most recent episode?
Let's see. The one going up, this week will actually be a Christmas episode. So we talked about Bad Religion's Christmas songs.
Okay,
That'll be up Wednesday.
I gotta catch that one. That one's gonna be a good one. Yeah, it's probably my favorite Christmas album.
Yeah. What's going on with Rogue One?
Well, last week we did a Rogue One retrospective, the film Rogue One. The 16th of December was the 5th anniversary of that movie's release. So we kind of just did a recap about it and talked about some of the characters in the show that we liked, or in the movie that we liked. This week, we are actually doing a Rogue One Radio holiday special where we're going to talk about some of our favorite Christmas movies.
Oh, that's fun.
So that should be a lot of fun.
And of course, we always have to shout out our network.
That is right. We are part of the Red 5 network. A lot of really great podcasts out there. We are, Around the Ring is the only wrestling podcast on there. So we kind of stand out around in that crowd. But a lot of really good podcasts out there. If you like movies, comic books, TV shows, pretty much anything in nerd culture, there's a podcast on there for you. So definitely go check those out. You can check that out at red5network.com.
Yeah.
So you've got some news.
There's a couple little news pieces this week that I thought we would address. Some of it's a little old at this point, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show yet. So I thought we should give a little bit of time to it.
Sounds good.
So the first article I have here is Kevin Owens re-signs with the WWE. So there's been a lot of rumors for weeks that Kevin Owens' contract was coming up soon, and he was teasing all sorts of like AEW references, like geotagging Mount Rushmore and referencing things that the Bucks have done on AEW, and kind of, I don't know, led everybody on to thinking he was going to AEW, and this news kind of came out that nope, they made him an offer too good to pass up. Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer is saying that he probably was offered $2 to $3 million for the contract. I don't know if that's per year or not, but or through the time period, but it should go for a couple years. I think a lot of comments are from the AEW side of things were saying that they couldn't match that offer. So I don't know. It's how do you feel about this news?
Well, it is disappointing. But a guy, he's got a family to support. So I got to imagine that the number had to be pretty high, I think, for him to not sign with AEW.
Yeah.
If they were trying to match it, or if they, if he asked them if they would match it, it has to be a pretty big number for Tony Khan to not have been able to match it. And a number big enough. I mean, really, it's got to be a number big enough to make him want to stay there. Because really, I mean, again, not watching it, but based on things that I've read and other people talking about it, what exactly are they doing with him?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that is featured pretty regularly, but he's not usually at the top of the card. I think recently he has been, but that may have been just a tactic by the WWE to kind of coerce him into re-signing with them. So, there's a lot of factors that can go into this decision. Mm-hmm. So yeah, money's probably number one.
Yeah.
It's a really good deal for probably, only a couple years. It's one of those things where it's like, well, you could take the money, but I can't imagine though the AEW wasn't going to pay him a pretty good amount. But
yeah, maybe part of him felt like he was going to get lost in the shuffle over there.
So I considered that really, because I was thinking about the market right now is full of unsigned wrestlers, free agents, like with the end of Ring of Honor, essentially, and with the last 2 rounds of releases in the WWE, a lot of those people have not made appearances anywhere yet.
Right. And then all the speculation of those that are potentially coming to AEW.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. He's just got to he's just got to think that maybe he's not going to be used there, which I doubt. I'm sure he would be used.
Yeah. The way I was thinking of it is like Johnny Gargano's contract is done. Kyle O'Reilly's contract is done. There's the last round of releases is like, Bray Wyatt has yet to show up anywhere. Like some big names are still out there. Jeff Hardy was just released. We don't know what's going to happen with that situation. So maybe he was just like, what'll make a bigger impact is in 2 to 3 years when this contract is up, me coming over then could be an even greater, a bigger deal, more expectation.
Could be.
Unfortunately, it just means that I won't get to watch one of my favorite wrestlers
for another 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Because he's on a program that I do not enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Despite as much as I love his work in the ring, it's just the presentation. I can't do it anymore. Like I just can't watch it anymore. So
right.
Who knows?
I thought about it just because kind of watch it on Sling.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember that why I stopped in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
unfortunate. I
much will
am
change.
disappointed by the news. I mean,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it means I don't get to see someone I like. So I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. Maybe he's very concerned with his kids as far as like everything he does is made based on his every decision he makes is based on his children first.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe his son really likes watching him in that company, or maybe he thinks whenever it's time for him and he can go to AEW, his son will be older and it'll be more cool to go to. I don't know. You never know.
Maybe. I don't know. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
So what other news we have this week?
Yeah.
There was a report, or not a report, but an announcement that the Owen Hart tournament is going to begin sometime in May, is what I read from Fightful, and that it will culminate. That is, the finals will happen at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, there's going to be a men and a women's tournament.
Yeah, so that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I like the idea of not, of
limiting it. Yeah.
Yeah, not just all guys. The only, I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm assuming that I guess we'll have to see who wins the TBS championship to kind of get an idea of the type of booking that they're going to go with. I imagine if I just had to, this is pure speculation. Like I have no actual information about what type of tournament this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine this is going to be used to maybe elevate a younger talent or maybe a lower card talent to get them up, higher up the card.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Considering we just had the World Eliminator tournament and we have the TBS tournament going on, that kind of setting in the more like mid card range.
Yeah.
So
well, and then we also just had the which we'll talk about later. We had the Diamond Ring tournament.
So I mean, I don't know what type of booking they'll go with. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I love a tournament. Like I just love tournaments in general. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be good. Cool. All right. What else do we got?
We got the big Wrestle Kingdom 2-night card announcement. And
I really got to wonder why they went with 2 nights.
Well, they did it last year.
Okay.
So I think it's just become their new thing. WrestleMania is now 2 nights too, so now I think it's just a thing now. I personally would prefer one single show.
Yeah.
Because the way these shows are booked, they're booked like kind of any of the other multi-night, like specials they do, like a New Beginning or Dominion is typically 1 night. But like a Power Struggle or something, and they've done these before where they're multiple nights, and they usually start the show off with the typical just kind of like preliminary tag matches that are kind of continuing the feuds before the next night's matches. So I prefer just watching one single big show because you tend to have a better show from top to bottom. Like you don't have as many filler matches on the bottom of the card.
Yeah, I feel like with two evenings, we're probably going to see a lot of filler.
Yeah. Do you want to go down the card? You want to talk about any of these?
I actually haven't seen the card, but let me pull it up. Which number Wrestle Kingdom?
This will be 16, Wrestle Kingdom 16.
Okay.
And I'll start at the bottom of the card while you're pulling that up. So it's going to kick off with the New Japan Ranbo Battle Royal. This is for the King of Pro Wrestling trophy.
Okay.
So it'll be a battle royal, and then like the top 4 people left in the ring at the end of the match will determine who will wrestle the next night for the trophy.
Okay.
You have to think Toriano is going to be in that. And,
Yeah.
it was designed for him in mind. So
right. So then the next match is a special match.
Yeah. So this one's really cool.
Yeah, between Yo and Sho.
Yeah, it's the grudge match. It's the they had their blow up this year. So Sho's in Bullet Club now, and Yo's trying to get revenge, and I think this match can be really, really good if they get to just go at it.
Yeah, I think this will be a good one. So we got a couple of tag matches after that.
Yeah. So both of these tag matches are kind of setting up the next night's matches.
Yeah.
So we have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Ryusuke Taguchi, as well as Rocky Romero versus Kenta, Taiji Ishimori, and El Phantasmo. A lot of those guys are going to be fighting the next night. And then the next one, we have Los Ingobernables, Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi against the what's the name of the Empire? United Empire. Will Ospreay, yeah. Great Okan, and Will Ospreay. So that'll set up the next one.
So Will Ospreay is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. So it's
as of now, unfortunately, COVID is ramping back up again. So hopefully this does not mess anything up. So the next match is probably the match I am most excited for.
Yeah. and we don't even know who both the contestants are.
No, we have the returning Katsuyori Shibata versus X. So mystery opponent.
Yeah.
I've heard some good theories. There's a chance that it could be Kota Ibushi, because supposedly he was going to be healed up in time for Wrestle Kingdom. And he has no storyline in any matches. So it would make sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not pinning all my hopes on that theory.
Yeah.
There's a good chance it could be someone from the dojo, which would make sense because he's been training those guys over there.
Yeah.
But then there's another theory that it could just be someone like Minoru Suzuki or Yuji Nagata, guys who don't have matches on the Wrestle Kingdom. So, and he's got a history with both of those men. So like they've had some amazing matches in the past. So I'd be happy with really any of them. I just want to see Shibata back in the ring.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be good no matter who it is. Mm-hmm. So after that we have the Never Openweight Championship between Tomohiro Ishii and Evil.
Yeah, this is gonna be a House of Torture match, because anytime Evil is in the ring, you can expect Dick Togo to be at the side of the ring interfering like crazy. So I hope they don't go wild with the interference, or at least like it's not a one-sided thing like they tend to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe Evil will probably come away with the Never Openweight Championship in that match. Next, we have the IWGP Tag Team Titles match. It is the Dangerous Tekkers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi, versus Chaos members Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. So this match is happening because Chaos, Goto, and Yoshihashi won the World Tag League this past week. So it gets them a title shot, and that is the Dangerous Tekkers. They have their title. It should be a good match. I like Dangerous Tekkers matches are usually always good. So it'll probably be an entertaining match. We have I believe you're muted while you're getting that sorted out.
Oh, I sure am.
There you are.
Okay. Yeah, the next one is the junior heavyweight championship between El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi.
Yep. This is a result of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. So Hiromu Takahashi won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament for the second year in a row. So that's very impressive on his part. And yeah, that'll be a match with El Desperado, the current junior heavyweight champion. It's second from the top of the card, which to me means it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, not surprising. Of course, the final match. Interesting that they're doing this on day one.
Well, it directly ties into day two's main event too.
That is true. That is true, and it makes more sense when we get to day two and then explain that. But yeah, this is going to be for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship between Shingo Takagi and I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name, Okada.
Yeah, Kazuchika Okada. So this is a result of G1. Okada won the G1. He's been carrying around the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and claiming that it is the true championship. So the winner of this match will then go on to night 2 and defend their title again. Yes. So it could be either one of these men.
Yeah. So that is night 1, which is January 4th. And that's at the Tokyo Dome. Actually, both of them are at the Tokyo Dome because that's kind of what they do there.
Yep.
That's kind of what Wrestle Kingdom is.
Yeah.
All right. So starting off night 2, what do we have?
So it says a kickoff match will be announced at 4 p.m. local time. I'm not entirely sure what that will be. That's kind of a mystery. But the first match we actually have listed is the IWGP Junior Tag Team titles. Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask will be defending against Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo, as well as against Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero. So it's a triple threat tag team match here.
Okay. Interesting. So after that, we have a Stardom special match.
Yeah.
Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid versus Tam Nakano and Saya Kamintani. And I apologize if I'm butchering y'all's names. I'm not. I don't speak very good Japanese. So
yeah. This is great. This is so after a couple years. Bushiroad is the company that owns New Japan, and they also own Stardom, which is the Joshi all women's promotion that's kind of like the biggest name in Japan currently. And so in the last 2 years, they've had matches at Wrestle Kingdom, but they were dark matches that were not broadcast on the show. So this is the first time that they're actually going to be on the show, and I'm excited. Stardom is a company that I like, but I don't watch because I don't have enough time to devote to an entire new company. But there's a lot of really good talent in that company, and that's one I should probably actually make some more time for.
Yeah, I've never watched any of those, so
yeah,
interesting. Let's see, what do we have after that? We've got the Provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2022 Trophy 4-way match.
Yep, this is the result of the Rambo. So whoever the 4 finalists in that match are will fight for this match, whatever the gimmick will be too, because they always have a gimmick. Then we're following that up with the never openweight 6-man tag team titles. Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo will defend against Evil, Yujiro Takahashi, and Sho. Or is it the other way around? That's the way they're listed.
House of Torture versus Chaos.
Yeah, I'm not sure who actually is holding the titles in that right now. It might actually, now that I think about it, it might be the House of Torture is currently the champions, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not thrilled with House of Torture matches in general, so I have not been
Let's
paying
see.
too much.
That's never open weight. I'm just gonna look it up here. 6-man tag.
It's funny. I think the 6-man tag is probably my least favorite championship in New Japan.
Yeah, those can probably get pretty scattered. What's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
No pun intended there. But yeah, the current holders of that belt are House of Torture,
Okay.
who won that title from Chaos at Power Struggle.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought that was the case, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, because I watch all the Wrestle Kingdom matches, but
Yeah. Couple of special matches.
Mm-hmm.
Sonata versus Great Khan and Jeff Cobb versus Naito.
Yeah, so these are our Los Ingobernables versus United Empire matches, which, if you follow New Japan's booking strategy, might kind of hint at who the winner of the first night is going to be, because that would then, if we're continuing the Los Ingobernables versus United Empire, then that would imply Shingo will retain and will face Will Ospreay. That's not 100% guarantee, but
right,
they like to book their shows in factions versus factions, so I could see that being the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And the one you're probably looking forward to the most.
Oh man, so much. There's actually quite a few that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, this one just by default that Kenta's in it. He is going to be in a no DQ match against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Do you have any theories?
I really hope that Kenta keeps it, because his reign hasn't really been all that long.
Yeah, and Kenta also comes back and forth to the States a lot more than Tanahashi tends to. So
yeah. So I think this is all speculation, of course, but what else are we here for? He keeps the belt and then does a short tour of the U.S.
It makes sense. Hopefully that's the plan. But
I hope so. I would love to see him.
The only other thing I would prefer is if Shibata is back full time after Wrestle Kingdom, then we get Kenta and Shibata.
Man, I don't know which one of those I'd want more. I mean, a lot of it is selfish. I really would like to see him in the States so that I have, somewhat of a chance to actually see him live.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
They also announced the third Wrestle Kingdom show, the Noah show that they're doing, cross-promoted show.
You missed the final match of the night.
Oh, I mean, we referenced it a little bit, but yeah, it is IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Either Shingo Takagi or Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
My theory is Shingo if we're gonna follow a United Empire story, but
yeah. But yes, you're right. The third night is a New Japan versus Noah match.
Yeah, and it's all tag matches for the most part. I think there's only like one or two singles matches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not familiar with most of the Noah side of things, so we won't really run down.
Neither am I. I'm kind of running down these matches, and really I don't know any of these names.
I mean, I'll watch it. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I would like to be introduced to these guys. But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know the names currently. I know like 2 or 3 names, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
And we have one last news piece, and it's another weird one. So the ROH Women's World Champion Roxy has been seen at the WWE tryouts in December. She's been spotted.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Now,
her going to WWE.
Yeah.
I would feel really bad if she got stuck over there.
So she fits the mold of the type of wrestler they are currently looking for, though, in the WWE. She's very young. I think she's like 19, 20, 21 years old. Like,
yeah,
they want young wrestlers. She's a current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. But I also wonder if this is just a tactic on her part to get a bidding war going.
Possible.
Increase her value, which that is one of the best things about having 2 major companies is now it helps out the potential money that the wrestlers could get.
Yeah.
So, Randy Orton used it to renew his contract. Kevin Owens clearly used it to renew his contract. I think it's just it's a fun little way for a wrestler to get a little bit more money when,
yeah,
a little bit more demand there.
For sure.
Obviously I do not want her to sign with that company because I don't enjoy their style of wrestling, but
yeah,
she still has her, match with Gianna Purrazzo in the future. So
yeah, and
I'm sure we'll still get that match regardless of where she signs.
Yeah, I really, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. That's going to be a good match.
Well,
all right. So I think that is all of the news.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some AEW. Specifically, let's start things off with Winter is Coming, which was the December 15th edition of AEW Dynamite.
Which you were at?
I was there. I was there in the Curtis Caldwell Center in, what was the name of that town? I mean, it's basically Dallas, but it was, it's one of the smaller towns. Garland. Garland was the name of it. So yeah, I was there with my wife, and Floyd was there as well with his wife.
Oh, nice.
And we were actually not sitting terribly far from each other. We were both on the floor. All of us were on the floor. This is actually the first wrestling event. The first major wrestling event I've been to where I've actually been on the floor.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, being that close to everything. I was about 2 seats away from the apron, right next to the ramp.
Oh, okay.
So got to see everybody come down the ramp. Like, they were very close to me. And for the most part, I was able to see the in-ring action very close. And I say most and not all, because every time the crowd in front of us stood up, I mean, we stood up too, but the couple of guys directly in front of me and my wife were much, much taller. So there were some instances where I had to go look up at the screen to see what was going on.
Yeah.
But overall, it was pretty good. I think, based on that experience, if I'm not like right on the apron, or in the section that Floyd was in, which was not by the ramp, but like on the side of the ring. Because that one there's pretty much not a bad seat in that section, and it's a very small section. There's only like 3 or 4 rows. So if I'm not like actually on the apron or in that section, I will probably, if I can't find a ticket to either one of those, I'll probably just sit in the lower 100s, just because I can see the ring much better.
Yeah, because it's elevated higher up than the floor level, so and they go up from there too. So if there's someone in front of you, you can see over them.
Yeah, on the floor you're flat. So
yeah,
but I had a really good time. They did. It was a really long night. It was a little over 4 hours.
Wow.
Because they did Dark Elevation, which was on YouTube today. I did not watch because I was already there. Or is that tomorrow? I can't remember between Dark and Dark Elevation which day is which. Because we watched Elevation, not Dark.
Yeah. Because they still film Dark at that studio, right?
Yeah. Dark is at the studio. But there was actually a pretty good match. I don't want to mention the match until I want to see if it's already happened or not. Okay, that one did happen today.
Okay.
So there were actually, you know what? I'm gonna check YouTube before I open my mouth because this could be a spoiler article. Yeah, there were a couple of good Dark Elevation matches, which was I don't want to say surprising, but pleasant surprise to see these matches. Okay, videos, matches. Is that Dark Elevation? I can't tell. Holy crap. Okay, this is going to be... Talk amongst yourselves, folks. I
believe...
Yeah, this one was definitely Elevation. Just based on the matches it's showing. There was a match between Andrade El Idolo, and he was wrestling an individual by the name of Khan.
I'm not familiar with this person.
Yeah, I don't know if this was his debut. See, another thing about being at a live event as opposed to watching it is you don't get to see the you don't get to hear the commentary, so or the stuff that shows up on the screen. So I don't know anything about him, but apparently he is from Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he's wrestled a bunch in Ring of Honor this year, even.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. So there was that match, and that was a pretty good match. It was cool to see Andrade in person. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And then Thunder Rosa had a match right after that with another name I've not heard, Amber Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that name too.
And pulling her name up here on the old internet. Let's see what we've got here. It says that she was... Oh, for a second, I thought it said she was trained by WWE. But no, she was trained by WWE's Dwayne Gill.
Is that Gilbert?
Yeah, Gilbert.
Oh, wow.
So appears she's been around for a while. She's been around since 2012, but nothing big. She's her last, according to pro wrestling fandom, her last promotion was Maryland Championship Wrestling. So probably her AEW debut, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So as getting back to what I was saying. So you had Dark Elevation, and then Winter is Coming, Dynamite, and then Rampage. And then, in between Elevation and Dynamite, and also in between Dynamite and Rampage, and also after Rampage, Tony Khan came out to talk to everybody. And then at the very end of the night, Tony Khan came up after Rampage. He did a little spiel, and then he announced somebody special was going to come out and say goodnight to us. And it turned out to be CM Punk. And so he did this thing. He did a promo that we'll probably never see unless somebody caught it and put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Another good MJF promo. And then he came around to everybody on the edges and got selfies and whatnot, and talked to people and shook hands and fist bumps and stuff. And I actually didn't know that was happening. Once he was done talking, I thought he had left. So Mandy and I left or didn't leave. We kind of moved around to where Floyd was at with his wife, and Floyd was up like right at the apron, and he saw me, and he kind of motioned for me to hurry up and come up there, but there was a lot of people out of the way, so he kind of started moving people out of the way for me. And I was like, "What are you? Why? I just came by to say hi and good night and whatever."
Yeah.
And then he pointed down the apron, and I saw CM Punk doing his thing, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." so yeah, I got to get my picture taken, a little selfie with CM Punk. So that was really cool. And yeah, so overall, it was a very cool experience, like pretty much any large wrestling promotion is going to be.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the night, the matches.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we were talking beforehand a little bit, and I was telling you, there's like, oh, okay, this will be one of those shows that we go down the whole card for, because it's one of those big shows that you gotta talk about.
I'm not sure if we need to do that.
Yeah. Well, there's not that much, so we might as
I mean, I guess we could talk about each one, but really there's only two that were worth talking about,
Well, there were only four.
There was only four matches. There was only four matches.
I think there's three worth talking about, but
was there? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
Well, let's just do it, because I got to be honest with Rampage. There's really looking. Let me jump back and look at the card again. There really wasn't much going on, to be honest. So yeah, we can just talk about Winter's Coming. So they kicked it off with a banger, man. They instead of it being the main event, the opening match was the AEW Championship match between Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson. Justin, what do you think of this match?
It went an hour long, and it ended in a time limit draw, which I love. I love time limit draws. So I think this might be one of the greatest AEW matches ever, potentially.
Definitely one of the greatest matches of the year, which we'll probably talk about next week, I imagine.
Yeah, I guess maybe. We should. Yeah,
maybe. I mean,
yeah. We'll have to talk.
We still have one more week of wrestling next week, though. So, we'll play that. We'll play that one by ear. But I agree with you. I love that it ended in a time limit draw
Mm-hmm.
because number one, Brian keeps his undefeated streak,
Yeah.
but also it, also obviously it, Hangman kept the belt.
Yeah.
Um, but the match itself was long. Like you said, it was 60 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just, God, it was just amazing. It started off a little slow,
It did. You
which
know.
totally understandable because if they knew it was going 60 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, but
No need to rush.
just yeah, but picked up momentum, and it was, oh my gosh, it was brutal. It was uh, Daniel Bryanson doing what he does. Brian Danielson, American Dragon. I'll just call him that, American Dragon, because I'm gonna screw up his name every time I do it. Doing what he does best, kicking the crap out of people, and uh, I gotta say, if you were not you, if you were not a fan of Hangman before this match, and were not impressed with his wrestling prowess, this match would have had to change your mind because he was amazing.
Yeah, this is one of those matches where I feel like I could show this to someone who either hasn't been watching wrestling in a long time or never watched wrestling,
Yeah,
and maybe it depends on the personality, of course. Naturally, this isn't a
sure.
blanket statement, but it would. I think they would love it. I,
Yeah.
it was just so perfectly done. Brian was being the total heel the whole
Oh,
match.
loved when he kept doing the somersault, or the jumping jacks, and when he kept taking his head out of the ropes to go out of bounds, and
Yeah.
uh man, it was, and then there was that time period where you didn't think Hangman was going to make it any longer.
Yeah. Yeah, there was
He
definitely a point or a good stretch of the match where Brian had most of the offense and
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. Now, I actually went and watched this match on TV,
yeah.
because I wanted to hear the commentary.
Mhm.
But one thing I noticed, um, watching it on TV versus watching it live, um, the blood streaming from Hangman
Mhm.
looked a lot more real live. I mean, obviously it was real, but I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean. It was like, holy crap! He just, man, he is in bad shape,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it was
and
one
he
of
really
those.
sold it.
Yeah, he it was one of those kind of cuts that's right there at the hairline, so it bleeds
Mhm.
extra profusely because the blood vessels are so close to the surface of your skin there.
Right,
And
but did you also notice that they put a little bit of water on it?
to make it run better so it wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
sticking as bad. Yeah, congealed.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, it also kind of keeps it cleaner too if you do that. So
Well, sure.
yeah, it was one of those matches where it's just like he took a lot of that offense for a really long time, and
He
it
did.
wasn't and the story of Brian focusing on Hangman's shoulder and arm so that he couldn't get that buckshot lariat. He
Hmm.
wanted to weaken his key offensive maneuver,
Yeah,
and the tide turning when Hangman gets out of the way and Brian kicks the ring post, and then
yeah,
he's able to capitalize, and then put a lot of offense on top of Brian, and
he did.
it was just like a perfectly done match, and interestingly, very well done for television because because
Yes.
because it was an hour long. We had to go to picture in picture commercial breaks, and one commercial break where I believe there was no picture in picture. So
You're right.
we lost a little bit of the match, but every time they would do the picture-in-picture, I felt like you weren't missing action. Like there was the one spot where like where
Yeah.
Hangman's bleeding and the Doc Samson comes down and is checking him out, and yeah, there were a couple spots where it was just like, okay, they know how to structure this match in a way that you're not going to
Yeah,
miss anything.
there were a lot of spots where he was just walking around, just kind of trying to shake it off. So yeah, you are absolutely right. They did it very well for TV. And then, man, they tell you in the arena how much time is remaining, and he gave us the warning that it was almost over, and then Hangman hit that buckshot lariat and went for the cover, but then the bell rang.
Yeah.
And it was just like if you could just hear the in the crowd. But yeah, that was such an amazing match. That was definitely. Now here's my question about this match. It will kind of coincide with our whenever we do our best matches of 2021. Do you think this match was better than the Danielson Omega match?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
One, you have more time with it, and so it makes the idea of going to a time limit draw seem less likely, and then it gets there, and it just has this. The finish, I think, was perfect. Like,
yeah,
he gets, Brian gets to maintain his undefeated streak, but Hangman also gets kind of the visual victory.
Yes.
It's one of those matches where you're like, if he would have had 5 more seconds, he would have won it, just because he nailed the buckshot lariat so perfectly.
Yeah.
But imagine if he got to it and he kicked out. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I mean, the when and where, if whatever, the rematch is going to be epic.
Yeah, going into this match, as much as I love the time limit draw, there is a part of me that wanted Hangman to get the victory, because this would have been his first defense. I mean, technically it is still his first defense because he didn't lose the title. But I think a decisive victory over Bryan Danielson would kind of cement that, yes, this is the guy. This is the guy we're going with. He is the champion. Take him seriously, for those handful of doubters that may exist. I don't know how many there are. There's probably not that many, but he's not been a proven commodity in wrestling outside of just diehard wrestling fans. So like, you want him to be viewed as a strong champion. So, though, maybe they'll do a rematch at Revolution, and he'll get the victory there. Or
so I don't know if you already knew this, but this match did get a 5-star rating.
Did it? That's good.
Yeah,
it deserved it.
Yeah, so it got the same rating that the Danielson Omega match got. But interestingly enough, Dave Meltzer gave the Omega Hangman match a 5.5. So
I would say that match was faster paced.
Yeah.
I mean, you had less time, of course, so you had to do a little more.
I felt like this match was better than that one by a lot. Yeah.
I think the story of this match was better. Yeah. But maybe Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega is that once in a lifetime wrestler. So
yeah.
Work rate wise, maybe you would give it to Kenny, but story wise, I gave it to this match.
Cool. All right. So that was our AEW Championship match. Sorry, did you have something else?
Oh no, I was just going to say that. Just looking forward to the rematch, which is exactly what Excalibur said the second the bell rang.
Yeah. So next match of the night was Matt Sydal versus Wardlow. Do you have anything to say about this match?
Not especially. All I really have to say is
Yeah.
it's setting up that turn so that whenever Wardlow, turns on MJF, he'll be the babyface, I think, in the angle, of course.
Yeah, the match itself is another squash match. It did go a little bit longer than most of his recent matches, though.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, it has the weird thing of like Sean Spears telling Wardlow to just pin him, finish the match, and
yeah,
then Wardlow like giving him another power bomb before finishing the match,
yeah,
and then getting on the microphone telling him, he should have just ended it then. And then like he hit side out with a chair. Then MJF calls Sean Spears on his phone so that he could tell Wardlow to go get the champagne ready for his match later. So just setting up storyline. I like where it's going. I'm very curious when they're going to when Wardlow's going to have enough.
hmm
Because I have a feeling he's gonna destroy Sean Spears after whenever that happens.
yeah.
Um, I did want to mention before this match there was the backstage promo with the Super Click and Bobby Fish, and they were talking about their match with the Best Friends, and talking about how Adam Cole has a Christmas present next week for the Young Bucks.
Hmm.
Do you have any idea what that could even possibly be? I know what I want to say.
For the Young Bucks, he said.
Yeah.
Is he going to turn on them?
It feels early, right?
It
But
feels kind of early to turn on him, but if Kyle shows up,
I was wondering, like, is this going to have anything to do with Kyle O'Reilly? I feel like it might.
yeah, I feel like it could. But yeah, if he's going to turn on them, it just, like you said, it seems kind of early in their. I mean, he's only been with them since September.
Yeah. I don't know.
Uh,
I'd be very curious. I feel like you shouldn't pull that trigger until Kenny's back, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
weird. That's weird.
but also, do you wait that long? How long will Kenny really be gone? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But who
yeah.
knows? But I don't know. I'm very curious. I think I don't know that he's gonna exactly turn on them yet. But I could see this somehow being how they bring Kyle O'Reilly in, and then the Bucks kind of act like they're kind of excited, but you can tell they're not, maybe, and I think that could be the story. It's gonna be like a slow turn, but I don't know. I'd be very curious to see where that leads.
Yeah. So after the Wardlow match, we had Serena Deeb versus Sheeta.
Hikaru Shida, yes, this is the blow off match, the rubber match of their feud. I was really looking forward to this match. It's a story. It was probably the storyline that I am the most invested in the women's division currently.
Okay.
I really love Serena Deeb as a wrestler and as her heel work since coming back from her injury. And like the angle with Shida and the 50 wins. Like I was very much looking forward to this match. Unfortunately, it had the bad luck of following the Hangman Bryan Danielson match. So
Yeah, yeah,
I wouldn't have put this match here. I would have maybe saved it for a week later, or
possibly.
yeah, this isn't where I would have put this match.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It didn't do much for me.
I liked the match a lot, but the crowd was not. I think the crowd was just tired from the hour-long match we'd just seen.
Yeah.
So before this match, though, we did get the Malachi Black video package, where he looks like
that's
he's
right. Yeah.
anointing a disciple or a new member of the first member of the House of Black. And he
Yeah.
makes a comment that he is now more than a king, I believe is what he said, and then
Yeah.
sprays the mist in his face. So this kind of leads into a news story that we talked about before recording. The rumor is Brody King has signed with AEW.
Yeah. So that's going to be a very interesting addition to AEW. And if he's joining the House of Black, who's his first feud going to be with? That's
The Varsity Blondes.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I thought this was a really entertaining promo. Just
mm-hmm.
just kind of weird, but which is what he's all about, doing all that weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the second he said King, I was like, here he is. Here comes Brody. This is going to be his moment. So
yeah,
I think he's supposed to face he's supposed to face Griff Garrison next week or this coming week on Dynamite. So I expect to see that be where Brody shows up for the first time.
Yeah. So the night, the Dynamite night, not my night, closed out with the Dynamite Diamond Ring final.
Mm-hmm.
MJF versus Dante Martin. And I like Dante Martin. His storyline is getting kind of back and forth and just kind of all over the place. But his in-ring work is just absolutely amazing. Of course, before the match even started, MJF came out and did a promo directed at CM Punk,
mm-hmm.
and he made a Ryback reference,
yeah.
Which, if you've ever heard CM Punk talk about Ryback, you know how much of a jab that was. But the match started, and Martin did his, Dante Martin did his top flight stuff. He both of these guys had some offense.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, of course, no big surprise to me. MJF kept the ring.
Yeah. I don't think there was ever any doubt that MJF was going to lose. The only way MJF would have lost this ring, I think, is if CM Punk caused him to lose it.
Yeah.
But also, this ring doesn't belong. It character-wise doesn't fit any other character other than MJF.
Yeah. So I mean, he won because what's his name? Ricky Starks kind of distracted him, causing MJF to put Dante in a submission hold. So after the match was all over, FTR comes in.
Yeah.
And then I don't think they even started doing anything until like the whole arena went dark.
Mm-hmm.
And Sting and Darby Allin came in and they just unloaded on him. And then shortly after that, CM Punk hits the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where we get CM Punk issuing a challenge. He said something along the lines of, if you don't want to fight me one-on-one, that's fine. You bring your friends, I'll bring mine. And that sets up a match for Holiday Bash, which I think is this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Week of Christmas episode. Yeah, it's set in Greensboro, which is, what do they say? It's the first time Sting has been in the Greensboro Coliseum since in like 20 years or more. He has a history there. I think there's a storyline from way back where Sting won a championship there. I'm not 100% sure. Back in the WCW days. I felt like that we saw this match set up kind of months ago, maybe, or the idea of Darby and Sting and Punk teaming together against someone. I thought maybe it was going to be FTR, but not FTR, but Team Taz. But
so the card for this week's Dynamite, they've got 4 matches announced right now. I'm not sure if that's going to be all of them or if there's going to be other matches. But we've got Malachi Black versus Griff Garrison, CM Punk, Sting, and Darby Allin versus FTR and MJF, Orange Cassidy versus Adam Cole.
Ooh, that's going to be a good match.
And another semifinal of the TBS Championship Tournament, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho.
Interesting.
So,
I thought this match did a good job of reestablishing, after MJF's Long Island show where he was the babyface of the city that night.
Yeah,
they did a great job of getting him on that mic and reestablishing that was a one-off thing. He is still the heel in this storyline. So he had some rough comments towards Texas, but
he certainly did, and that crowd was not having it.
Yeah. But looking forward to this week's Dynamite.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Dynamite, and Rampage is looking for next week is looking pretty interesting as well. I guess we can talk a little bit about Rampage before we announce this week's card.
Yeah, I didn't watch, so with a lot going on with the podcast this week, I didn't get a chance to watch much wrestling outside of Dynamite.
As far as there was only 3 matches, so I don't have a whole lot to say about any of them per se, but the first one was probably the match of the night, and it was Super Click plus Bobby Fish versus basically Chaos, 8-man tag match. Of course, Young Bucks, Bobby Fish, Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and I don't know why they list Orange Cassidy Best Friends of it differently, separately. But anyway, Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and Rocky Romero. It was pretty cool to see Rocky Romero live. I don't know, it was just cool, having never seen him in a live setting. But yeah, this was, it was an 8-man tag match. Everything was all over the place. Trent was there, and they did this thing, and Trent actually got the win for Chaos when he actually pinned Bobby Fish. It was an okay match. It was, I don't know. It was, part of it might have been, by that point in the night, everyone's just exhausted.
Yeah.
Myself included. So, it was just kind of, it was a decent match. There was nothing, extraordinary about it, if you want to put it that way. Right after that, we got a promo, one of our favorites returned with huge boos. And that would be Dan Lambert. Was introduced by Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and so they came out and did some stuff, and then they were interrupted by Cody Rhodes, and so things got physical. They started beating on each other, and then Dustin Rhodes jumped in. And then also Sammy Guevara came in. So there was a beating between those folks. And And then at the kind of the end of that altercation, Guevara flips Cody off. So it's like, oh, okay, you weren't actually in there to help them. You were just in there to beat down Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page for whatever reason. Oh, that's right. They had a kind of a little thing going on where he said that he deserved a title shot.
Yeah.
After that, there was a submission match between Ty Conti and Penelope Ford. It was all right. The next match was a 10-man tag match, so you can imagine how chaotic that got. So this one could have been something very interesting because of the participants.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of the amount of people in the ring and all of the side battles going on, it just made the match what's the best way to describe it? It was just a cluster, and you couldn't really keep track of anything that was going on. But this was Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz, and Eddie Kingston versus the Acclaimed 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. I think my favorite parts of the match really is when number one, Kingston was beating on Daniel Garcia, and when pretty much anybody was beating on Max Caster. So yeah, but yeah, Bleacher Report gave this a B+, so I missed something, but yeah, I don't know. It was just there.
Yeah.
Into the night. Like I said, by that time of the evening, I was probably just wore out from standing. But next, or this week rather, there are two matches that have been announced. Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship, and then Hook versus Bear Bronson.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hook's got another match. That's exciting.
He does, and he got quite the pop. I don't think it was on television, but it must not have been, because it was Tony Khan that introduced Hook. He came out of the tunnel, and the crowd went nuts. But yeah, that was not on TV. But yeah, he got a pretty big pop.
He became the number one T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees.
I read that. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I can't say that I'm a fan, but I can't say that I don't. I can't say that I hate him either, or that I think he's too new. Let's see what he does.
So I think he became this kind of almost a meme on the internet he was just always there, never saying anything really, eating his chips, yeah. And it kind of became this running joke of like Taz talking up how good Hook was, and him not having a single match. And so it was just one of those like, when are we gonna see it build-ups?
Yeah.
So it just became this like funny kind of like thing on the internet to talk about. Just wait till Hook appears.
Yeah, I mean, his first match was good.
Yeah.
Let's see what his second match with Bear Bronson.
Yeah. Very different opponent than Fuego del Sol.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. Well, I believe that brings us to this week's top 5.
It does. This week we are doing the top 5 tag teams of 2021.
That is
And
right.
as we said previously, it's not necessarily our favorite wrestlers, but maybe the wrestlers that we felt had the best year. So
Yes, it's definitely that is definitely the case here because quite a few of them are nowhere near my favorite tag teams. So, you want to start things off?
sure, I'll start off. I'm going to start with the Briscoes, Jay and Mark Briscoe. They're getting the number 5 spot because really all the most exciting things about them have happened at the tail end of the year. So, them appearing in GCW, their online feud with FTR, winning the ROH Tag Team Championship at Final Battle. It was like 17 times, I believe is what they said.
Yeah.
And, they're probably going to show up in AEW to fight FTR. It seems like the most logical place for them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a really long time. They're amazing in the ring. They are their gimmick in real life, very much so. And I'm just very much looking forward to their match with FTR next week, or not next week, whenever that match happens.
Yeah, whenever that's going to happen. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I didn't even think about putting the Briscoes on mine, but yeah, they didn't even make them. Because I haven't really seen a whole lot of them this year, so I guess that's probably why. Because I have been watching Ring of Honor up until that final battle. But starting off with my number 5, not a tag team I'm a fan of, and this is one. So we've got 5. This is one of 2 that is not a part of AEW. This is a tag team from Impact. And the reason that I even put this tag team on the list is because this is a tag team that there was a lot of speculation around as far as where they were going to go when they left WWE. And when they show up on Impact, they automatically win the tag belts. And I'm referring to the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics. I put them on the list because it was just like this team was not a part of Impact of any storylines, but they just show up and they win the belts. So they are on here because they obviously had a very good year, even though it was the tail end.
It was even though they both got released this year, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love them. I think they're great. I think they have such good mic skills, and they know their characters inside and out. In ring work,
Yeah.
But character wise, I love them. They're great.
Yeah, that's to me, that's really all they have going for them.
Yeah.
Your number 4.
My number 4, I went with Jurassic Express. So it just felt like this whole year, they were just kind of like a constant little presence in AEW. So they had quite a few matches as individuals and as tag team, with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and the storyline of Jungle Boy becoming a Jungle Man, of embracing the darker side.
Yeah.
I just thought that they had a really strong year, even though I think Luchasaurus was probably injured for part of it. And we haven't seen Marco Stunt really much, but
yeah, I've noticed that.
But with the addition of kind of Christian Cage and involved with them, I feel like we haven't seen them for a minute, but That is kind of the
Yeah.
good thing about having such a large roster is you kind of rotate people in and out. They don't get
Right.
stale. So I don't know. They had a lot of really great matches this year, and I think that's the main thing, and a lot of prominent spots as well. So that's why I went
Yeah.
with number 4.
Okay, that's a good one. My number 4 is another non AEW tag team. And these guys are the Impact Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers. I put them on the list because they are actually one of the few, I want to say one of the true, quote unquote, true tag teams in Impact,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of them are just a bunch of guys thrown together.
Yeah.
And these guys have done some interesting work in and out of Impact this year. And they've had the belts for a good chunk of the year, at least half the year. And that is why I put them on my list.
Well, my number 3 is the Dangerous Techers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi, members of Suzuki Gun. They are the IWGP Tag Team Champions. This year, they've held those titles twice this year. So I'm trying to see when they've held them 3 times this year. Their reign ended at Wrestle Kingdom this year, their first reign, which was 176 days. But then they had a second reign that really only lasted 40 days. They lost to, I believe it was Los Ingobernables. And then they won them right back just a few weeks later, and they've now held them for 149 days. So on top of just having really great matches as a tag team, individually, they've done really well. Zack Sabre Jr. especially, his G1 turnout was fantastic, and
It was, yeah.
He wound up having a great match with Okada. Or was it Shingo? I bet it was Shingo. Yes, because he had pinned the champion. But yeah, it was just they had great years as singles wrestlers. They had a great year as a tag team. They were in the World Tag League as well. Just they might wind up losing at the Dome. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But
yeah,
as one of the few kind of like dedicated tag teams in New Japan, I really wanted to highlight them.
Well, I can see that. Another tag team. My number 3 is another tag team that, again, not really a fan of, but AEW has done a good job of kind of pushing these guys. Not really like pushing them to the top per se, but pushing them to the extent that you're starting to see them a lot more. And maybe not for me, but maybe these guys are really growing on some wrestling fans out there. I'm referring to 2.0.
Oh yeah.
They've teamed them up with Daniel Garcia, which has kind of given them both a push. But I kind of think that they need him more than he needs them. I don't. It just kind of comes across that way. But yeah, you've been seeing a lot of these guys at the matches, Dynamite, Rampage. Been seeing. I don't know if you watch any of the what you call the Behind the Elite.
No, being the elite.
Being the elite. Yeah, that's right. I watch it from time to time, and they show up on there a lot. So I kind of picked them because I don't, yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily like them all that much, uh, but uh, you can't you can't say that they're not interesting. I guess would be the way to put it. Uh, so they are amusing from time to time.
Yeah.
So they're not one of those tag teams that, at least for me personally, when they come out, I just groan and be like, "Oh man, not them again," because there is definitely a team that fits the bill. Um, but yeah, so yeah, 2.0 is my number 3.
My number 2 is the Lucha Brothers, Ray Phoenix and Penta El Zero M. They just had a great year. Between their AAA matches and their AEW work this year, winning the tag team titles in AAA, then also winning the AEW tag team titles against the Young Bucks in the Steel Cage, which is probably one of my favorite matches of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a feud with FTR, which hasn't been, from an in-ring perspective, the best, but also I just like the idea of them working together.
Yeah.
And then they did a tag match in AAA against Laredo Kid and El Hijo del Vikingo, and then they had their FTR match there as well. Yeah, they've just had a really great year as a tag team, and
That's a really good, solid choice. My number 2, however, is the other tag team you just referred to, FTR. They've had a really great year. This is I didn't catch a lot of their championship run in AEW, and I don't remember why. Must have been a dry period in my wrestling watching. Um, but I remember them from the other company, uh, and I really liked them then. I really like watching them on AEW as well. But they've got a lot of they've done a lot of really interesting stuff, like you said, with AAA, and just kind of trying to break out of their own particular mold, uh, if you want to put it that way. Kind of breaking out of their comfort zone, I guess, would be a. I mean, I don't know if it's their comfort zone, but it seems like it's out of their comfort zone. The kind of the stuff, kind of the matches they're getting booked in, and even just being part of AAA doesn't seem like it's their thing. But they've done really well there. They kind of jumped in on ROH, so they've got a lot going on in wrestling now as FTR, and happy to see them. Happy to see them injury free, for one.
yeah.
But yeah, good to see them.
So, my number 1 team is FTR. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. So I was looking through because I was like, what did they do this year? And I remembered, I was like, well, they had their feud with Jurassic Express. They were involved in the Pinnacle versus Inner Circle feud. There was a Blood and Guts match and a Stadium Stampede match. They've had their feud with the Lucha Brothers going on for a while now, where they became the AAA tag team champions. It's funny that they've traded titles essentially.
Yeah.
And now we're setting them up for the Briscoes. Like, I just think as a year, I mean, besides that gnarly injury that FTR suffered early on this year to Cash's arm.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that.
You know, it was kind of like, oh no, is this really? You know, he's talking about not having sensation in his hands. I think that wound up being a storyline, but there's a little thing to worry there. But otherwise, match wise, they've been really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Characters, they're just perfect. They're a perfect tag team. And then
Yeah.
this year, kind of adopting the Midnight Express kind of
Yeah.
visual look
Yeah.
and
Their
theme.
their character work has been great this
Yeah.
year. It's just been awesome. Yeah.
Who's your number one?
So we switched our 1 and 2s. My number one is the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have much to add to what you said. Um, I will say that match where they won the titles was uh, one of the best matches of the year. It was
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely amazing. That was another match that I saw live because I was there at All Out in Chicago, and it was just seeing them. Ultimately they lost it, but they did get the AAA titles. So they were 2 belt champions,
Mm-hmm.
and just I loved seeing their. Uh, I do love their feud with FTR. Some of the matches have been less than stellar, uh, but overall, the feud itself has just been great. Um, that match they had, AAA one, but the one right after that was a really really good match. Um, and then I'm really looking forward to seeing what lies ahead for them. I got to imagine there's going to be a Santana Ortiz feud looming in the future,
I hope so.
and
Like,
that is going to be crazy.
I feel like Santana Ortiz are a tag team who kind of got lost in the shuffle this year, unfortunately.
They did. Um, they had some really good spots in that match on Rampage.
Yeah.
Uh, when you were able to tell what was going on. That I mean, like I said earlier, that was probably the most disappointing part of that match because the match itself had so much potential, but there was just too much going on all at once. Uh, I don't know. Somebody else may have been able to concentrate a lot more, and maybe they got a lot more out of that match that I did. But that being said, going back to Santana Ortiz, they had some really good spots in that match, and uh, they need to get they definitely need to get another push of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that they're kind of the next team to kind of get a big push.
Yeah, and if it's got to be against the Lucha Brothers, man, that's going to be
Right.
those
That's
are
got
going
to
to be
be.
some amazing matches.
Yeah. Somebody's got to go heel, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's true.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it, whatever happens next.
Yep. So that was our top wrestling tag teams of 2020.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Around the Ring. Didn't go quite as short as I thought it would.
But not as long as last week.
But not as long as last week. That's right. But that's all. And thanks everybody for listening. And hope to come back next week as we talk about Holiday Bash and more.
Yep.
And not sure what our top 5 will be, but we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Cool. All right. See you next week.
See ya.